The final step of the process prior to students completing their piece of writing is to assign students the task that we've just created. We do this from the Enrollment tab. If you hover your cursor over the Enrollment tab near the top of the screen, you'll see that you have three basic choices: Edit Schedule, Schedule a Task, or Schedule Collaboration. These three functionalities are critically important as we begin to create the assignments of what students will actually do. I want to begin by showing you the Schedule Task feature. When I open the Schedule Task feature from the Enrollment tab, you'll notice that I'm presented with a series of pull-down menus. First, I need to select the class that I want to assign a particular task. Then, I confirm the grade level of that class. And then finally, I see a list of the available tasks that I could assign to this particular group. Once I identify the task, I simply click Search. If you scroll down this window, you will notice that here I begin to see a list of my students that are actually on the roster for this class. All I need to do is to select the task administration window that I want to associate with this task. And again, in this pull-down menu here, I will see a list of what's available to me. And then over in this column near the right-hand side, I see the option to enroll or unenroll. This allows me to assign that task to these students. So by clicking the Select All box, I can simply assign that particular task to every student in this class. Or, if I don't want to assign it to every student, I can actually just select which students I did want to assign that particular task. So the task itself might be assigned to the entire class. It might be assigned to some select students. And one of the reasons that this is advantageous is now I can create multiple tasks for different students in my classroom. This allows me to differentiate writing assignments without the students being completely aware of what it is that the fact that they're doing something differently than the neighbor beside them. So for example, I can modify an assignment for a student with disabilities or a student with an IEP, and all I have to say to my class is, okay guys, let's log into Quiet. I've given you a task to complete. And then one student may not know or be aware that the student sitting next to him or her has a slightly different task. I think that this is one of the real advantages of Quiet in the way it works. So again, I simply identify the task, I identify the task administration window, and I select which students to enroll in that task. And then down here near the bottom, I simply click the Schedule Students button, and those students have been assigned this task. So when that task administration opens and the student logs into Quiet, they will see that task as one of the available tasks for them to complete. Also from the Enrollment tab, I have the option to schedule collaboration. This is what many teachers refer to as peer editing or peer response. And again, this operates in much the same format. I select the class that I'm thinking about assigning this task or scheduling this collaboration for. I confirm the grade level, and I confirm the task that I want to focus on for this. And so what I can do here is, again, I see this roster of my students. I can simply select all if I want all the students in that class to be available for collaboration. But I can also, again, be a little bit more specific. So let's assume for a moment that this first student, Amos Sanders, Amos has been gone for a couple of weeks from my class, and I really don't want him to spend much time peer editing or collaborating with another student. I really want Amos to focus on getting this assignment done. So I might actually unenroll Amos from collaboration, and his name simply would not appear from the list of available responders when students go to this section of the writing process. Or if I want to be a little tighter about which students partner with whom for collaboration, on this next column to the right, I can actually select which student pairs will work together. So once they are actually enrolled in the actual collaboration, I can come over here, and if I want Amos to work with Derek, I can assign that right here from the Collaboration tab. And I can do this for one student, or I can do it for every student in the entire class. So even within collaboration and peer editing, I can limit this, or I can keep it pretty flexible in terms of how I want my students to do. And again, we've built Quiet to be flexible so that different teachers can apply it in different ways for different classes and for different assignments. So simply, one of the other options I have is not to make collaboration available at all. If this is a test question that students are responding to and I don't want them to collaborate, I simply don't schedule any students for collaboration. And then once students log in and they get to that thing, they might open that pull-down menu for available responders, and it would simply say no students are available to collaborate with. So I can make this very much an on-demand writing assignment and remove the peer collaboration from the process if I so choose. But again, here is the flexibility of the tool that allows different teachers to use Quiet for different purposes and for different contexts. I might also say very quickly here that on this Enrollment tab is one other option, the Edit Schedule. Editing the schedule is something that teachers might do if a student has been gone during that task administration window. So let's assume that students have been working on an essay for the last 2 weeks, and one student in particular has missed the majority of the class time available to him to do that. What I can do is modify the task administration for that individual student. So what I would do would be create a new task administration, and then I can amend the current task administration for that student. So very simply, once I've created that task administration, I can identify that new task administration, and here again is Amos Sanders. I can just select to extend his window of time if I so choose, or narrow his window of time, whatever the situation may be, for a task that's already been scheduled and delivered for administration to students. So that is a quick overview of the Enrollment tab, and again, this is the last step of the process before students are actually able to log into the system and begin composing their essays.